Hey guys, what's going on? So this is going to be a live stream, so if you're just tuning in to this as a video, feel free to head down to the description as I'll have the timestamp when when the discussion actually starts. I'll also upload this later as a regular video. I'll take the discussion part and then the Q&A part and upload them as separate videos as well. I'm going to go ahead and get started in just a second. I'm going to share the link on Twitter, and feel free to retweet that as well so that we can get as many people in here as possible. We have a lot to talk about. This was just going to be a regular video, but the fact is there is so much to unpack here, and I think that the community's response to some of these news updates it's worth talking about in my opinion. So I'm just going to share this really quick. All right, the tweet's up, so feel free to go ahead and retweet that so that we can get more people in here. So there's a lot to talk about here. Thanks everybody for joining me. We're already having a really great turnout, and I think that's because everybody here is, if you've heard about it, there's a lot of really exciting news. And the fact is, if you don't know what I'm talking about and you have no idea what Arkham Legacy is, basically, I am 90% sure that I know what the next Batman game is. And it's not just me. Basically, everyone in the Arkham community who knows insiders, who's been talking, this is something that has been corroborated for a long time. It's a rumor that's been around for a year, and I've seen compelling evidence that I can't share that basically confirms a lot of the claims. There's certain things I can share, but there's a lot that I also can't share. Yes, so as the speculator says right here, the recent leaks might mean we're close to getting an announcement. I am positive that we're going to get an announcement very soon. And like I said, I'm 90% sure that I know what this game is going to be. And just to forewarn all of you guys, I'm not going to be reading the chat as I explain everything that we have to talk about here, because there is a lot, and I don't want to get too sidetracked. At the end, I'll open up the floor to questions. Feel free to talk amongst yourselves down there. But I will not be looking at the chat until the end of the video. I'm not going to be doing anything interesting in the game because I really want to stay focused here. So first I'll break down how this discussion is going to play out. I'm going to start off by talking about what we think the new game is going to be, why we think that this is the case, and when we could potentially see it, and then I'll discuss the backlash that this game that isn't even officially, like, we don't have a trailer yet, but people are already hating and showing outrage against this game for what I think is a pretty minute reason, but other people will disagree. So we'll talk about that, and then we'll also talk about the fact that I think that this game is going to be an Arkham Knight sequel in contrast to an Arkham Origins sequel. So yeah, so we're just gonna go ahead and get started. Excuse me. So this game it's been rumored for about a year, as I said. I saw a long time ago something on Reddit that I'll actually read to you right now, and I wrote it off. I did a video on it 6 months ago, actually, that I'll link in the description below later. So I wrote it off because it sounds ridiculous. So here's what that Reddit post says. It says, I recently met up with Scott Snyder at his local LCS, Fourth World Comics, and got to ask him a few questions at a signing. I asked him if a Court of Owls game is in the works, and he said he shouldn't tell me this, but it definitely is in the works. He also said that he had met up with WB Montreal recently to have discussions about the game and its development. Apparently, you get to play as the Bat family while Bruce is missing. He mentioned Robin, Batgirl, Red Hood by name. He said to be on the lookout for more updates. Now, like I said, when I read that about a year ago, I wrote it off as absolute garbage. Like, that sounds so fake. In what world would Scott Snyder leak a game? He's probably signed NDAs, and, it's just some guy on Reddit. We've seen these leaks all the time, and they're always they just come out to disappointment. However, everything that the reliable insiders have been saying, this has been leaked now by very reliable insiders who say that the game is called Batman Arkham Legacy, that it will feature the Bat family. And like I said, there's compelling evidence that I've seen from Scott Snyder and from other people who would be involved in this game that this is actually going to be the case. I've been able to speak to a source about this, and he said that it sounds accurate. And so there's a lot of potential, I think, with that story. And for anyone who's a comics fan, you'll realize that the Bat family has a ton of potential for a story. In the comics, Bruce Wayne disappeared very much like he did in Batman Arkham Knight. He did that in the comics as well. And what happens is we get this story arc called Battle for the Cowl that's about the Bat family trying to sort of maintain order in Gotham after Bruce Wayne is gone. Then we have Batman Reborn with Dick Grayson as Batman and Damian Wayne as Robin, and I loved that run. Paul Dini wrote some of the comics for it, like Hush Money, and it's really, like, some really great Batman stories that just simply don't feature Bruce Wayne. And so like Scott Snyder said, allegedly, to that Reddit user, this game would feature Batgirl, I'm assuming Cassandra Cain, probably Nightwing, Red Hood, I'd imagine Catwoman, Azrael, and really, like this is pretty much confirmed at this point. We've had some very reliable insiders leak it, and they're all corroborating each other. It's so I'm like 90% sure that this game will be Batman Arkham Legacy, that it will be a Bat family game after the events of Arkham Knight. Some other things that I've heard, and this is less concrete because I haven't heard it from as many people, but people like Jason Schreier have talked about it. So back when this game was supposed to be a Damian Wayne game, there were rumors that it would feature the Nemesis system from the Middle-earth games. And for anyone who doesn't know, because a lot of people don't seem to know what that is, it's this really cool feature, I'd argue really the only notable feature from the Middle-earth games, in which every enemy remembers you. Every enemy that you encounter has a personality. So if some random NCP kills you, they rank up and become like a war leader, and you can go get revenge on them, or if you defeat someone, they can come back and get revenge on you. And what's up, Slickmoth? We just got joined by the god himself. But so the Nemesis system has been talked about for a long time, and it's interesting. A video that I would definitely recommend you guys go check out is K-Wing's latest video. He talks about how the Damian Wayne game is actually allegedly rumored to be called Arkham Legacy as well. So perhaps this rumor, or this reboot that we've been told about that this game underwent, might not be as major as we thought. It really might just be that instead of playing as Damian Wayne, we're playing as the Bat family. And, I'm sure that it will have a huge open world city. I've heard that there's going to be vehicles in the game. I haven't heard anything about tank mode. I actually tried to talk to my source, and he won't give me details. He's very tight-lipped about this. But one thing was he said that he hasn't heard anything about tank mode, but he's heard about a lot of the major features of the game. So I'd assume that he'd know if tank mode was in the game, and so... but I have heard that there are vehicles in the game. So it's going to be a huge open world game where he plays the Bat family, and it will likely be set after Arkham Knight. So now let's talk about the backlash that I've been hearing about this rumor so far. Because for me, this sounds like an amazing change of pace from the past Arkham games. It sounds like a really interesting way to continue the Arkham narrative. But the one thing that seems to have fans really on edge is the lack of Bruce Wayne being the main character. And while I understand this, because Bruce Wayne is the best Batman, in my opinion, I don't think that this story necessarily needs Bruce Wayne. He closed out his arc in Batman Arkham Knight, and it wouldn't be too out of the question, I think, to do a Battle for the Cowl story and have Dick Grayson sort of assume the mantle of Batman. I think it honestly makes a lot of sense, and it would be a great way to continue the Arkham narrative. So it's just so interesting, too, because the people who seem really outraged by this don't seem to really be aware of a lot of Batman comics and sort of the larger mythos outside of Bruce Wayne, because I mean, people are like, it's stupid when Dick Grayson becomes Batman. It's like, well, it's less stupid than when Superman became Batman in the comics. Like, there are Batman, the role of Batman has been assumed by like tons of characters in the comics. And honestly, like, the comics where Dick Grayson is Batman sell well. People like them. They're fan favorites. Paul Dini worked on them. Stories without Bruce Wayne work, especially if we're going Battle for the Cowl route. It would definitely work. I don't know. I just have a hard time wrapping my head around the idea that a story without Bruce Wayne is doomed to fail. Especially with the Bat family. Like Slickmoff just put in the chat, try play instead of dual play. And I think absolutely it's possible. And the other thing that we could see is local multiplayer, online multiplayer. Really, like, you think about like what Marvel is doing with their Avengers game, and you apply that to a Bat family game, and this one would have an open world. Like, that would be insane. Like, there's so much potential here. And like I said, it almost makes more sense narratively to not have Bruce Wayne in the game, because at the end of Arkham Knight, he's basically told Catwoman and Dick Grayson, like, yeah, I'm done, I'll never see you guys again, good luck. And so it would kind of completely undermine the entire story if Bruce Wayne were just back, like, hey guys, what's up? So the other thing is, a lot of people are saying, well, you don't know that it's not going to feature Bruce Wayne, and that, maybe it's just an Arkham Origins sequel. Now, I've heard directly from certain insiders that it will be an Arkham Knight sequel, not an Origins sequel. But aside from that, like, let's look at factual evidence, because I know that people will challenge that regardless, and even I wouldn't say that it's the most accurate information per se. But let's look at the voice actors. Roger Craig Smith and Kevin Conroy have both deconfirmed any involvement in a new Batman game. Roger Craig Smith was teasing something a while ago that people keep pointing to, but ultimately that was just for a Superman animated film that he was part of. So I really doubt that he's involved with the new Batman game, and the reason that Roger Craig Smith voiced Batman in Arkham Origins was because Kevin Conroy was working on Arkham Knight. And so I don't know why, A, you would get Roger Craig Smith over Kevin Conroy, and B, just neither of them seem like they're doing a game. It's odd because they're already teasing this new Batman game, but like the most famous Batman voice actors of all time don't seem to be involved. Essentially, every insider has agreed that it's an Arkham game. There's Troy Baker, there's Nolan North, I guess, who like they could have snagged to play Batman, but I just don't know why you would when Kevin Conroy seems so willing to make another one. He's been on Twitter begging Rocksteady to make another one, even though they're not the studio doing it. And when you look at an Origins sequel, I know that people like myself and I think Slickmoff and Salvage have said this as well. But I think that we've sort of made the fallacious claim that an Origins sequel is the safest move for them to make. And to a degree, that's correct, because it's the most familiar Batman story that they could tell. But if we're looking at what has worked in the past, Arkham Origins was actually the least successful Arkham game, both from a reception standpoint, but also from a profit standpoint. It didn't make nearly as much money as the other games. Like Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and Arkham Knight each got progressively more successful. They each made more money than the last. Origins was like kind of a step back. So I could totally see Warner Brothers stating that, like I could see them being really against another prequel game. And you look at what WB Games Montreal was going to do with this game. It was going to be a Damian Wayne game. Bruce Wayne he's never really been heavily involved with this project, it doesn't seem like. It seems like they're trying to move forward. And I think that the title actually is a really good reference point for what this story could be. It's called Arkham Legacy. It's about the legacy of Batman. So, like I said, I know that a lot of people are really upset that Bruce Wayne may not be a major player here. But what I like is that it could be a soft reboot for these other characters. Bruce Wayne could come back in maybe the sequel as like a mentor role. And because Bruce Wayne is not involved, there's absolutely no justification for Joker to come back. There's no, like, I don't know. I really think that this has a ton of potential. Like I said, I think that the multiplayer, the dual play, the open world, the characters, like, people keep bashing, like, there's no way that Nightwing could carry a game. Really, I mean, by that logic, Nathan Drake shouldn't be able to carry a game. They're basically the same character with, like, very similar comedy, and I don't know. I don't understand the backlash, and I think that it's from a small group of people. You look at, like, I don't know. You look at the gaming community, and overall, everyone seems interested in a, like the possible mechanics that this game could have with the multiplayer and the dual play. And then you look at, like, the hardcore Batman fans like myself. We all know that, like, Dick Grayson, Oracle, Robin, Red Hood, they could carry a game easily. We all know that. It's sort of what I would call the mainstream fans that don't quite understand that these characters are as good as they actually are. Because if you know your characters, you'd know that they'd be able to carry the game. Like, I had someone trying to argue with me that a Batman Beyond game would be a stupid idea. And really, I mean, that comes down to personal preference, because Batman Beyond is one of the most classic and famous looks at the character. And so I think it's just kind of pretentious and very opinionated to say that a game without Bruce Wayne wouldn't work, because stories countless times have proven that we don't need Bruce Wayne as the main character to make a game work. And again, you look at the end of Arkham Knight, and it seems like the next logical step. And even from a gameplay perspective, it makes sense, because if you do another Origins sequel, you kind of have to go back to the Origins gameplay. Because if you suddenly have all the abilities that you had in Arkham Knight, like before Arkham Asylum, then Asylum and City no longer makes sense. The whole point of those games is that Batman hadn't, he was still testing technology. He's not really fully powered up until Arkham Knight. So it'd be really weird to, like, have an Arkham Origins sequel where you have a huge open world and you have all these abilities. You'd almost have to completely reinvent the gameplay in order to make it make sense. However, with a Knight sequel starring the Bat family, you can so with, like, a Bat family game set after Arkham Knight, you can continue the gameplay forward, you can evolve it, and you can mess around with a lot of features that weren't available in the other games. So, like I said, like, you can just really evolve what you're doing rather than trying to go back and tell a story and mess with the continuity more. Because the end of Arkham Knight, by the way, is so open-ended that it would actually be kind of hard to ruin the continuity, especially if it is a soft reboot that tells its own self-contained story that's really only connection to the past games is the Nightfall Protocol. So I think it's kind of the best of both worlds, because I don't really want them to reboot the Arkham brand, but with that said, I don't necessarily want them to mess up the continuity anymore. So just sort of to recap, and then I'll open it up for questions and for discussion. The game is allegedly called Batman Arkham Legacy. It will probably feature the Bat family. Bruce Wayne will either have a very minor role, or he might not be in it at all. With that said, his legacy will still be continued in the game. He will, I'm sure that if he's not in the game, he'll still be a main talking point of the game. They'll probably be looking for him. The game will likely feature a lot of dual play, a lot of multiplayer, online and local would be my guess. A huge open world, probably a nemesis system if they've carried that over. So tons of great potential here. It will continue the Arkham story. It will feature the Court of Owls, League of Assassins, and I think it sounds really great. So go ahead and in the chat, if you have any questions, again, I can't share any of the inside information that I've heard. Like I can't tell you what I've seen, because I have seen stuff that basically confirms that this is what it's going to be. I can't share that with you. But let me know, like we can talk about Bruce Wayne missing, and I know that for some people they really don't think it's going to work. I can tell you it would work. Dick Grayson could easily assume the role of Batman. He's done it in the comics very successfully. So yeah, let's go ahead and discuss. I really think it's a good idea. Sergeant Skydiver missing or presumed dead. I mean, he's kind of presumed dead, but at the same time, I don't know that the Bat family thinks he's dead. I think that they all know that he kind of just faked it. The Spider-Verse thing, it can work. Okay, so I don't know if you're referencing my tweet earlier. I basically joked that this game could be the next Into the Spider-Verse, where before the film came out, everyone was like, oh, I don't want a Miles Morales movie. And then after the movie came out, they all changed their profile pics to Miles Morales. And it could be the same thing here. Oh, I don't want a Dick Grayson game. And suddenly Nightwing is occupying Twitter on everybody's profile. It could happen. That's probably what's going to happen. And if I don't see your question or miss it, go ahead and just put it in again. I can only see like 3 at a time right now. Alfred playable. I'd be down. Alfred... That'd be interesting. I personally don't mind Bruce missing with the ending of Arkham Knight. I think it would be pretty dumb to just bring him back. Exactly. The thing is, so I'm a film student currently, and one thing that I do every week is there's a class where I sit down and analyze a film. And so I've gotten actually really good at identifying story arcs. So I can tell you that bringing Bruce Wayne back just doesn't work narratively. And I don't know, like you don't need to know the ins and outs of character development to know that, because the whole point of Arkham Knight was that Bruce ends up kind of sacrificing himself. Not really, but he sacrifices his identity, he sacrifices a lot and disappears at the end. So it wouldn't make sense for him to just be right back. What did happen to Alfred after Night? He just went with Bruce. They're off somewhere. Neither of them died. They did not die at the end of Arkham Knight. Can be a trilogy. Bring back the Damien idea for the sequel. Yes, exactly. And if the Court of Owls and League of Assassins are involved, Damian Wayne is very likely to have a role, actually. Okay, John Lemley doesn't want anyone to occupy the Batman title if it's not a Batman Beyond game. I can agree, but at the same time, they're probably going to have to in order to market the game. It's way more marketable if there is a Batman character. If no one's Batman in the game, then, you know, you can't really call it a Batman game. Why were they working on a Batman Beyond game and a Court of Owls game set Arkham Knight at the same time? So what happened was they were working on the Damian Wayne game, and it got rebooted. So what was the Damian Wayne game is now going to be the Court of Owls game. If you can't tell us what have you seen, can you tell... dang it, I missed it. Who will be Batman, Tim or Dick? I hope Dick's Batman. I love the Batman Reborn run. I think it's like just so interesting because for me, Dick Grayson really is Batman in that run for a while. Like he's not just like pretending to be Batman. He really does assume Batman, and he's a very different version of him. But yeah, I prefer that. But I wouldn't mind Tim. Like, the Arkham versus Tim would actually really fit as Batman, I think. So we could be seeing the Batbike and tall skyscrapers. Yeah, I would imagine that a lot of what was in the Damian Wayne game will be carried over. Okay, yeah, so Sergeant Skydiver is asking about the Court of Owls. Yes, from what I remember, and I know that Slickmoff saw some concept art that was actually shown on Twitter. We didn't see the Court of Owls concept art, but yes, the Court of Owls were going to be a major player in the Damian Wayne game, and that looks as if it's been carried over. So for all we know, Two-Face could have a really big role in this game as well. Yeah, and the Batbike could make a return. In fact, every character might have a different vehicle, and a different moveset and a different traversal method. I wonder if we're going to get an explanation of who the Toxin Batman is. Yeah, so at the end of Arkham Knight, that Toxin Batman, it's interesting because in the Battle for the Cowl story arc, there's actually like a rogue Batman that they don't know who it is, and he's like killing people. So they could just explain that's what that is. Day-night cycle. I've never been one to really care whether or not the games get a day-night cycle. I don't know. I think it works better for characters like Spider-Man. I wouldn't mind seeing Bruce Wayne gameplay. A choice system could be interesting. Yeah, so like Slickmoff saying, like variety and combat between the characters would be amazing. And when you think about it, with dual play, you could really do some interesting things. Like you could combine combos. So like Batgirl and Nightwing could have combos that they could only do together. You could have Robin and Azrael that have combos together. So each character doing dual play could be different. Yeah, and I guess that like the whole concept of a day-night cycle with a Batman game, it for me it's kind of like, why do you want Peter Parker free roam in Spider-Man? Like what would be interesting about it? Just because you can do something doesn't mean it's interesting to do in a game format. Yeah, so like by choice system, I think that there's two ways they could go about it. One is that you do the Mass Effect thing where you kind of get to choose the direction that the story takes. You get to choose certain interactions between characters. The other thing that I could see them doing is kind of like the Nemesis system, where you have a few different side missions. Like you have Two-Face and Penguin, and you have to determine which one to take out first. And whoever you take out first, it like changes the second side mission. That could be interesting. And yeah, maybe you get to choose who gets to be the main character of the game. Maybe you get to choose whether it's, Dick or Tim or Jason. And maybe if you're Jason, you get to be like a violent Batman who kills people. How do I think Battle for the Cowl in the Arkhamverse would play out? I think it would be similar-ish to the comics, but not necessarily... I'm trying to fight and read the chat at the same time. I think it would be similar to the comics, but at the same time, it would probably be more about the characters trying to maintain control in Gotham after Batman is presumed dead. Especially if the Court of Owls and League of Assassins show up. Did I ever see more concept art other than the one we had of Harley in 2017? So all the Damian Wayne concept art got leaked on Twitter. I haven't seen more concept art. And that's the thing. Like when I say that I've seen stuff I can't share, I don't mean I've seen the game. I haven't played Arkham Legacy. I just have seen conversations. I've seen things that really line up with other things I've been told and what I've seen. Dick was a motorcycle enthusiast, so the Bat Bike makes sense. Well, and like I said, I mean, every character could maybe have a different mode of transportation. They could have different... that's the great thing about having an ensemble game, is that everyone has different things. There's a lot more replay value. And then you could have, different characters have different side missions. So maybe each character has 2 side missions. Just tell us what you have seen in detail. Not in detail, but just overall. I have seen... I've seen private messages, I've seen discussions, I've seen this rumor be talked about for over a year. I've been told by a source that it's basically legit. We've seen leakers on Twitter, 4 very reliable leakers talk about it, and they're all corroborating each other. So unless everybody is getting misinformation, which is rare, that's... I don't even know of a time when it's been this many people corroborating something and it's turned out to be fake. We can pretty much assume that this is true, though. Imagine the microtransactions we could have. 15 cents to spray explosive gel. We're gonna get to that point at some point. Like I swear it's gonna be like each refill of ammunition costs $3 or something. Do I actually know the release date or the year or the month? I've heard from 2 places that it's going to be summer of next year, but I cannot vouch for the like how valid those 2 are. So I'm not positive, but I have heard in 2 places that it's going to be summer, that it's going to be revealed soon. So and again, sorry, I know I'm missing a lot of comments, but my phone's dead, so I can't really go back right now. How soon? I don't know. I would be shocked if it's not revealed by the end of the year. And the way that the leakers are talking about it, it sounds like it will be within the next few months. It would be cool if it came out around Asylum release date. See, I think that a lot of times people get hung up on like release dates, like past release dates. Like people are saying, oh, it'll probably be revealed on the Arkham Origins anniversary. I'm not saying it won't happen. I'm just saying that that's not like a good theory. Like there's not any real like compelling evidence that makes me believe that that will be the case. Summer of next year makes sense. Night released in summer of 2015. Well, it makes even more sense, more than it just following in the footsteps of Arkham Knight. It makes sense because it's a current gen game. So like they kind of have to do it because the next consoles are coming out next Christmas, and WB Montreal have a real port problem in the past. They were not able to get Arkham Origins on next gen, which was the goal. The goal was to have it on Xbox One and PS4. In fact, there's images of that version of the build of the game that you can see, and they just weren't able to figure out the port. See, the thing about waiting until like the Game Awards is I'm kind of okay. We've waited 4 years already, and I'm busy. Like it's not like every day, day in and day out, I'm just waiting for this game. Like I have a life, but I would like to see news on this game relatively soon. If it's not at the Game Awards, I will not be happy though. I will promise you that much. That would be absurd. Yeah, and like Slickmoff is saying, like, Batman's 80th anniversary, the reason that we got something there but not, like, on Arkham City's anniversary is because, like, it's different. Like, on Batman's 80th anniversary, like, that's a much bigger deal than a single iteration of the character. It's the entire, it's the whole legacy of the character. So the thing that makes me excited, though, is that everyone I've talked to who has seen the game and everyone who's posting about it is saying it's like the best Batman game ever made. They're saying it's like amazing. So I have really high expectations, and they've been working on this thing for like 6 years, so it better be good. Maybe the Fortnite Batman thing was the real prequel to Arkham Asylum. Batman Arkham Fortnite. At least the game wasn't rushed, otherwise they would have released it this year on Batman's 80th anniversary. Well, and that's the other thing that we have to remember that I think sort of makes the Origins sequel idea less likely. And that's that Origins was made in a rush so that Rocksteady could really take their time with Arkham Knight. It wasn't done because it was like this really great creative decision. Like, Arkham Origins was just made as filler. Sabi just tweeted again. Someone tell me what he says. Like K-Wing said, he is a very reliable leaker. Like 85 to 90% of the time he's right. I should note that the title of Arkham Legacy could change. Yeah, I absolutely could. So Scott Snyder, from my understanding, he hasn't. He's not currently involved with the game. He was a while ago, though. I kind of have seen stuff that confirms that. But it will involve the Court of Owls. And so he was a key member of creating the ideas for the game, I'm sure. They should remaster the Arkham games, but in Lego. They probably will. Like, let's be honest, that's probably what we're looking at. We'll get... The other thing about the whole Bruce Wayne situation is I think people are forgetting DLC. I mean, for all we know, the pre-order bonus might be that you get to play a Batman and Robin DLC where they take down Two-Face. Like, there's still room for Bruce Wayne in this game and in this world. It's just he may not be the main character of the base game. And yes, I do know... dang, I forgot what I was just gonna say. I was responding to a chat thing and I forgot. Blinked. If I remember, I'll go back to it. Arkham Asylum, City Origins Night. Please 5 remaster or remake graphic character model. So the thing is that you're talking about a remake. A remaster, and I've had to kind of learn this the hard way. A remaster doesn't mean an overhaul. It means that they just touch up the graphics, basically. You look at BioShock, the collection, you look at the Assassin's Creed remasters, that's all they are. They're basically just ports. At this point, if you want a really good version of the Arkham games, they would have to remake them. Now, that wouldn't be hard. I've recreated the entire hallway of Arkham Asylum. I've recreated the ending of Arkham City where Batman's carrying Joker out in Unreal Engine 4. They look really good. I'll probably upload them soon. So it wouldn't be hard. I mean, I was able to do those in like an afternoon, so... a team could easily, like, especially if you base it on the original games, they could be done easily. Yes, exactly. And I believe K-Wing said that as well. Dick Grayson's 80th anniversary is next year. And if, like, it kind of makes, it's starting to make sense a little bit that they're not making a big deal about this being a Batman game because it's not really a Bruce Wayne game. Like... So, fun fact, the Arkham Knight game was actually made in the same engine as the other games. So, if you wanted a remake, they'd probably want to do it in Unreal Engine 4. I know that they have a bad rap after Return to Arkham. The fact is that they ran into problems because they just ported the games into Unreal Engine 4 instead of really working and tweaking to utilize the engine. I've worked with Unreal Engine 4 for probably 7 or 8 years now, and I can guarantee a Batman game could look fantastic in Unreal 4. Like, just look up YouTube, like, demonstrations in Unreal 4. Like, they've made some pretty photorealistic looking. Okay, so again, day-night cycle. What's the appeal of playing as Batman during the day? I know that people are like, you could investigate, but is that fun? What's fun about that? Like, you can do that as Batman, too, at night. My thing with Spider-Man was I didn't necessarily love the Peter Parker segments. Like, they weren't bad and they added to the story, but it got kind of boring when it was like, go visit Aunt May as Peter and talk to her. Go visit Doc Ock and talk to him. It's like, okay, let's do something story-wise. I want to beat someone up. How long after night is this meant to be? I have no idea. I would assume fairly quickly after Arkham Knight. It would probably be within 10 years. Yeah, so what would you do as Bruce in the day? That's what I'm asking. Like, what do you like sit behind a corporate office? Do you sit in the Batcave? Like, I don't understand what's appealing about it. Quickly equals within 10 years. Yeah, I mean, I'm talking in, like, contrast to Batman Beyond, where it's, like, a long time after, or The Dark Knight Returns. I don't think it will be, like, 10 years after. I'm thinking it will be within a decade. So, like, 10 years would probably be the longest. I think the Damian Wayne game was said to be set... There's conflicting rumors, but some said it was 10 years, some said it was 20 years. Bruce, during the day, you are training and you go for a run around the city. Why? I can train at my house and go for a run around my neighborhood. Like, the thing about playing a Batman game is I don't want to do stuff that I can do in real life. Like, I want to... Like, again... And this is hard because I've done some game development just as a hobby. And you start to learn that there's a lot of things that just because you can do, it doesn't make really for compelling gameplay. Like, how many times would you be interested in running around the city as Bruce Wayne? Now, if there's a choice system and if you can drive cars and if you can talk to people and form relationships, that would be one thing. But if you're just going for a walk around the city, then what's the point? Hell yeah, Fick. Yes, exactly, Jake Slays. Like, that's the thing. This game could, like, if they do create that features that are worth playing, then yeah, absolutely. I'm hoping for a fully populated city this time. It would make sense with Dick Grayson. Think about that. Like, with Bruce Wayne, it's hard. So, here, I'm in Arkham City right now. Like, what should the reaction of these people be if Bruce Wayne, like, the brooding, like, vigilante just drops, like, and there's cars on the road? Dick Grayson, it makes more sense, because he could be more like Spider-Man, where he's high-fiving people and kind of, you know what I mean? I want to play Red Hood and kill people. Yeah, it could happen, and I bet that it would if he's playable. Never understood why Bruce's head face looks so different after each game. It's because Arkham Asylum, they weren't worried about it. Arkham City, he was in it for a second, and then Arkham Knight, it was a new console generation, so it kind of makes sense. And then in Arkham Origins, they were trying to make him look younger, so... The Arkham games kind of suffered from not having foresight, if that makes sense. Like, they knew what they wanted to do at the time, but they weren't really planning ahead. I just love seeing the contrast between Bruce in day and Bat at night. Again, yeah, but... I don't know, you kind of... Like, if there's compelling gameplay, sure, but I don't just want to be Bruce for the sake of being Bruce for no reason. You know, if there's a narrative reason for it, sure, but otherwise... Like I said, there's segments of Spider-Man where I got bored of playing as Peter Parker. I'm like, okay, like... Especially on replay. The first time through, it didn't bug me so much, but when you're trying to replay Spider-Man and it's like, now as Peter Parker, I will go and investigate the demons... It's like, yeah, we already know how this ends. We know that it's Martin Lee. We knew that before the... Like, that's the thing about games, is you don't want to have, like, 3 hours of gameplay be dedicated to, like, we need to figure out who Mr. Negative is. And then it's like, it's Martin Lee, but we knew that from, like, the game demo? Like... It's been made clear it's not Bruce. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'll be back on the chat in just a sec. A Batman Arkham game set in London. There almost was. They almost made the Gotham by Gaslight game. You can look it up. They have, like, early gameplay and everything. You can see it. So how does that part you created from Arkham Asylum look like? Yeah, so I took the... it's made from the ground up. Like, it's not like I remastered it or anything. Like, it's made from the ground up. And I didn't... Like you gotta understand, it's not like I recreated a whole segment of the game. Like, it's a hallway from Arkham Asylum, and it's just a graphics test to see how it would look. Do we know any actors involved? No, but we can kind of assume that Troy Baker and Nolan North will probably be involved. So, like, Mom, if I see that you said one thing I will say, are you just just writing the next one? Like, is it a long thought? Okay, I love Batman Arkham set on Christmas or Halloween. Yes, I love when it's an event game. Like, Christmas Eve, it's perfect because then you can play it every year. Like, on Christmas Eve, it feels perfect to play. Like, and it's such a cool tone because then it mixes sort of that vibe of whatever time of year it is with Batman. So I agree. I don't know if this next game will. I'd be okay if they tried to set it over multiple nights this time rather than just sticking with one night like they have been. So Sergeant Skydiver says, hopefully meeting Nolan this Saturday at Comic-Con. You should totally, like, ask him about the Batman game. Be like, hey, so I hear that... Sabi has tweeted more about the game. What has she said? Like, Keep me filled in. My phone's dead. That's why I can't read earlier comments in the chat. So another thing that I want to bring up is that it's funny because a lot of people I think are going to be disappointed by this game regardless. Because we've waited so long and been teased for so long that people have like this idea set in their head. It's like, it's going to be a Bruce Wayne game set after Arkham Origins where you fight Two-Face with Robin, and if it's not that, they're going to be disappointed. And it will have the map size of GTA 5, which it won't. Like, that's impossible. So but the problem is that there's still all this speculation going around, whereas if WB would just release the freaking trailer, then that would all be put to rest. And yeah, people would be disappointed, but then they could move on and just accept what we're getting. Yeah, exactly. The expectations are because WB isn't saying anything. But with that said, they're still teasing us. We've been getting teased since like this time last year. They were like, yep, 2019, you're gonna get it, 2019. And then like they started like tweeting out pictures of like the Court of Owls logo, and yeah, so she said that the title could change. Bat Family is a definite. Yeah, and that's true because working titles aren't always concrete. But what we do know is that that means it's an Arkham game. It's going to be set in the Arkham continuity, which for me makes me really happy. I know that a lot of people are really didn't want that, but yeah. What's the best source for any new leaks or news about the Batman game? Honestly, Sabi is a really good source. She's on Twitter, and she's been, as K-Wing said, she's very good. And really just, I don't know, like, I feel that myself, Slick, Salvage, Evan Flarka to some degree, he doesn't cover them as much as we do, but he could, if you asked him to, I'm sure he would. But, you know, like, just commentators like us, we are usually pretty good. We're all in the same chats and stuff, so we update each other all the time. So yeah, like, feel free to just stay up to date on our videos with our tweets, because like as soon as something happens, we will be talking about it, whether it's like a reveal, whether it's a rumor, things like that. Besides Court of Owls, who else, what villains would you like to see? Honestly, like, if they are going to take inspiration from their Damian Wayne game, we could see the new Poison Ivy, we could see Two-Face, we could see... there's a lot of potential, and I'm sure that we'll get some of them as side missions. I'd be interested to see another Zaz mission. I always think those are cool. Hush could return and finally get a cool story arc. Maybe he could pretend to be Bruce Wayne while Bruce Wayne is missing. Like, there's some potential there. But do we really want a new Batman game without Batman? So I keep seeing this. I keep seeing people say, none of us want a Batman game without Batman. Yet here we are. There's 32 of us in this video. I've done polls. I've done posts of pictures. The majority of the Arkham community is more than happy to play a game without Bruce Wayne. It's personal opinion. If you don't agree, that's fine. But you can't. But you got to stop saying that it won't work and that no one will play it, because it's been proven that the majority of us are fine with that. The armor in Origins was a lot heavier. Let's see. In fact, in the chat, go ahead and, like, if you absolutely cannot stand the idea of a game without Bruce Wayne as the main character, because you got to remember, he will still be the main talking point of the game, I'm sure. They'll probably be looking for him. It will be based on comics that have done very, very well. Battle for the Cowl, Batman Reborn, Batman Beyond, like, it's worked so well. So if you, like, let me know in the comments if you don't think that would work, because the fact is, they will lose a lot of money. No. Like, again, it continues the Arkham game, Arkham franchise. It's still a Batman game. I think that the fact is that the people who are unwilling to accept this idea are really, like, it's sort of between surface level fans and hardcore fans, because hardcore fans are excited for a game about the Bat Family. Like myself, I would kill for a game about the Bat Family. I don't care if Bruce is involved or not. Like, I'd be happy if he is, but I'm totally fine if he's not. People from a gameplay perspective are like, oh yeah, I like the Arkham games. Yeah, that's an interesting new direction. Yeah, where's Bruce Wayne? Who's going to be the new Batman? Most people are okay with that. It's just the people who assume that they're like these Batman experts who really don't have a lot of knowledge about Batman. Like, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like, is that clear enough? Because the thing is, if you knew these characters that you're bashing and saying couldn't carry a game, you'd know that you're not speaking necessarily correctly. Dick Grayson, Tim Drake, Barbara Gordon, Cassandra Cain, they can all carry games. Like, and the fact that they're all going to carry one together and it will still be a Batman game and that Bruce Wayne will still be the talking point, it will be a successful game, I have absolutely no doubt, especially because it introduces mechanics like dual play, multiplayer. There's tons of routes they could go to market this game, and I have no doubt it's going to be amazing. Oh, Tim and Barbara breakup. That was dumb. I don't like that, yeah, I don't like that Tim and Barbara are an item in the Arkham games, but with that said, it doesn't kill me. Like, it's not the worst thing that's ever happened. Like, it's fine. It's just, for a comics purist like myself, it's... How come no one figured out that all of Bruce's family were vigilantes too? That's exactly what this game could cover. And if you'll remember, before the Arkham Knight DLC came out, we were all hoping that this is exactly what that would be. And I remember having a discussion with my best friend, who's like a total Batman expert, way more knowledgeable than I am even. And we were talking about the best route they could go would be to make a Nightwing game, to explore everything about the Nightfall Protocol, to show what happens next in Gotham, how they can keep the legacy going. And that's what we're getting. I think if this game had been announced in 2016, people would be way more on board for it. Yeah, and so like Niles just said, he's fine with the game without him, but he'd prefer with him in it. That's totally free. Like, I understand, and I'm sure that he will be involved to some degree, whether it be through DLC, whether he be a mentor in the game, whether he's gonna be in the game. It's not like he's not going to have some big role. He'll be the main talking point, I'm sure. They'll be figuring out where he went, why he's missing, what the Nightfall Protocol is. And because it's based on that, it'll work. The thing that bugs me and irritates me more than it should is when people say, no one wants a game without Bruce Wayne. No one wants that, because those stories work. Battle for the Cowl and Batman Reborn are some of the most fan-favorite stories of all time. Like, to say that your personal opinion is a fact really bugs me. Like, and again, it shouldn't, because it's like just super petty, but it's like, but it does work. It's been proven to work. If it doesn't work for you, you might just not be as deep of a Batman fan as you think you are, is all that I'm saying, because hardcore Batman fans know that the Bat Family is pretty sick and would carry a game easily. If you say that Dick Grayson could not carry a Batman game, then you should also be saying that Nathan Drake doesn't work as a character. And exactly, Kevin Conroy has already said he's not in the game. Roger Craig Smith is not in the game, unless it's some big conspiracy that everyone keeps trying to convince me of. Yeah, and that's the thing, is that, like, a Bat Family game, they're all going to be available in free roam. Like, they're all going to have different vehicles, I'm sure. They'll all have different aspects of the Nemesis system. Like, there is tons of potential here. And the other thing is that the community is going to thrive with this. Like, go check out the GothamKnights.com if you haven't already. That's a site run by myself, Slickmoth, the Arkham channel, Hero Shots, Salvage. Like, it's a great thing. We have a ton of articles up. We have a lot of community features. And we're going to start a podcast as well, at least Slickmoth, Salvage, and myself. We're trying to figure out scheduling. We were going to record, that was going to be kind of our discussion for this, but I wasn't able to get out of some stuff last night to record, so we weren't able to do the podcast. All right, so I've been going for about an hour. I'm gonna start wrapping it up. I always hate streaming. I don't feel like I do a very good job. But yeah, we're gonna wrap it up. So any last questions? Anything to kind of wrap it up? I'll take a few more. Remember the videos me, you, and Salati did in 2017? Yeah, I do. Yep. Yeah, back in 2017 when we were also waiting for another Batman game. Really want this game. If you think Bat Family is stupid, you're not a Batman fan. And so here's the thing. There's different types of fans, which is fine. If you don't think the Bat Family would work, I don't think you're a terrible human being. I just don't think you're as big of a Batman fan as you might think you are. Because there's surface-level mainstream fans, and there's people who really are knowledgeable about the characters and who really do have a passion for the mythos. And if you're a Bruce Wayne fan and solely a Bruce Wayne fan, you're more of a surface-level fan. Which, again, is fine. But it just bugs me when people can't accept it. The MCU has a ton of those as well. People think that they're comics experts and they've only seen Spider-Man Homecoming. They don't know the character of Spider-Man, but they act like they are 100% correct. And I'm a surface-level mainstream fan of a lot of Marvel characters. I'm a mainstream fan of Iron Man. I'm a surface-level fan of Captain America. I'm a surface-level fan of other stuff like Harry Potter, Star Wars, you know, so, like, yeah, I'm not going to sit and argue that the new Star Wars game doesn't work because I don't know that it won't, you know? Like, I'm not knowledgeable enough about the lore to be like, oh, yeah, that's going to suck. Like, I'm going to try it and see if I like it. Bat Family might be a big selling point if it includes Batwoman and Red Hood. Exactly. And that's the other thing is that so Scott Snyder has allegedly, and again, take that with a grain of salt, allegedly he's dropped like Robin, Batgirl, Nightwing will be in the game, Red Hood, and so you think about that, and suddenly we have this whole new demographic of females who want to play the game because Batgirl's in it. And you can play as Batgirl, and then we have people who are more fans of Titans who want to play it because Robin's a big character. Like, it's very much a big selling point. Like, especially because it will still be a Batman game. Opinion on the band Queen? I like them. I've been saying I'm a mainstream fan of Queen. I don't know much about them, but I like them. I heard the rumor that said Batwoman is in it. She was mentioned in Night. Yeah. See, like, when they say the whole Bat Family, I think it's going to be huge, and then you look at the DLC possibilities. Again, Bruce is a big DLC possibility. Honestly, if you want my opinion, this game could outsell Avengers and be, like, a way bigger deal. Queen X Batman game confirmed. Yep. We're going to see Queen in the new Batman game. The band will be behind the Court of Owls, and they will be led by Joker. I think that saying that you're not a real Batman fan because you'll be disappointed if he's not in the game is a dick move. So, you're missing the point. I'm not saying that you're not a Batman fan. I'm saying that you're not necessarily as big a fan of the mythos as you think you are. And that's just a fact that you kind of have to accept. It's not a jerk move. It's just kind of factual. Like, for example, I can't give my opinion on certain things about Harry Potter. Like, if you were to make a Ron Weasley game, for example, that doesn't sound appealing to me. But I'm not going to say, oh, that sucks, that wouldn't work, because I don't know enough about the character. Like, for some people, there might be a lot of potential there. And I guess that's, like, not really a great example because he's still a lead character. You know, and the thing is, you can disagree. Like, you can really like Batman and still be kind of a mainstream fan. I really, really like Iron Man. I love Iron Man 1 with Robert Downey Jr. 2008. I think it's one of the best superhero films ever made. I love the movie. I think Iron Man is a great character. With that said, I think War Machine, I could do without him. I don't really care. I think he's kind of uninteresting. If they announced a War Machine movie, I think that they'd probably have a TV show lined up for him. I don't really care. With that said, I'm not going to go and say, boo, it sucks because Robert Downey Jr. is not in it. It's going to suck because Iron Man isn't the main character. You know, like, that's the thing. If I'm not as big a fan of these characters, then I'd choose just to not play the game. I would like Joker to be in the new Batman game because he's the best Batman villain. If it's an origin sequel, I don't really care. I'm not experiencing the Joker fatigue that everyone else is. I think that the thing that you guys need to take away from me saying, like, the mainstream fan surface level stuff, that's not bad. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just when you start acting like you're much more knowledgeable about the character than you actually are, and like, oh yeah, Dick Grayson couldn't carry a game, when you don't even really know who Dick Grayson is. Like, you know who he is, but you haven't really read the comics where he plays as Batman. Like, then you're being really pretentious at that point. WB Games Montreal is making 2 games. Yep, that's true. And the second one's a new IP. So, Superman, Suicide Squad, we have no idea. Flash, could be. An Arkham game without Batman just wouldn't be an Arkham game. So, again, you're making no sense. Because it is an Arkham game. It's set in the Arkham universe, where Dick Grayson will most likely take on the mantle of Batman. So how is it not... And Dick Grayson has carried many Batman comics, Batman stories. He's a fan favorite. It makes sense after Arkham Knight for Bruce Wayne to still be missing, but for them to be looking for him. So why... You know, like, I just don't understand the whole point of, like, oh, a Batman story without Bruce won't work. Because if you know the characters, you know that they would. What do you think about Riddler playing a role in the new Batman game in the main story? I think that it would be interesting. I'd like to see him have a different role than he's had in the comics, or previous games, I mean. Sorry. Second game is a sequel to this one because they might do a trilogy. I doubt it. They said it's a new IP. They said, who wants to work on it? And they were, like, hiring for it, so it's going to be different, I'm sure. It could be, but... It's like 2 different teams. My guess is that they'll switch off teams. So this team that's working on this game will be in charge of this new Batman trilogy, whereas the second team will probably develop a second trilogy like Superman or something. Is it a reboot? It's probably a soft reboot. It's probably going to be set in the Arkham continuity. It'll be an Arkham Knight sequel. It'll connect to the Arkham Knight story, but other than that, it will be a brand new story within the Arkham universe. So, like, you can enjoy it without having played the other ones. I think they can carry a game greatly, but I want another Batman game with Batman. So, again, Dick Grayson can be Batman. You know, you're not being clear because, yeah, if you're saying, I don't want to play another game without Bruce Wayne, then that has a completely different meaning, because Batman will be in the game, it just probably won't be Bruce Wayne, and it makes sense for Bruce Wayne to not be in the game. Would I like to see the Batboat in a new Batman game? Honestly, I want every character to have a different mode of transportation. Like, if Tim Drake had a Batboat, and Dick Grayson had a motorcycle, and Red Hood had a car, like, they could do something cool with that. A sequel to Arkham Origins makes no sense. It's not that it makes no sense. They actually have a lot of potential ground that they could cover with it. It's just, I don't think it's very likely, considering the Arkham Origins is their least successful property. And the whole idea of, like, me saying that you're not a Batman fan if you don't want Bruce in the new game, that's not even what I'm saying. You're totally taking what I'm saying out of context. I never said that he can't. Yeah. So the thing is, like, if you want Batman in the new game, I can guarantee Batman's going to be in the new game. Like, it just might not be Bruce, and Bruce might need to take a minute. And the thing is, I'm not saying that you're not a Batman fan. I'm saying that you're probably more mainstream fan, which is fine. It's just, you give this game a chance and give these characters a chance before you decide that you hate it. I'm sure that Bruce Wayne will still play a major role in the game. Maybe not physically, but he'll be a main talking point. It'll be about his legacy. It's going to be interesting. Like, if you're an Arkham fan, and if you're a Batman fan and a fan of these characters, you're going to love it. The other thing is that you need to remember, like, this would be an amazing change of pace for the Arkham games because it would follow new characters. We've had, like, I understand, because I think Bruce Wayne is the best Batman as well. Like, yeah, sure, you can say it's disappointing that he may not play as major of a role in this next game. But with that said, like, I mean, we've already had 4 amazing main games with him. We've had a VR experience. We've had countless comics. We've had the 2 Telltale games. We've, like, there's so much Bruce Wayne content out there to go play right now that I don't understand why a single game that might not feature him as the main character, it's like suddenly blasphemous, especially because the community has asked for like a Nightwing game forever, and now we might be finally getting it, and people are like not happy with that. It's a good risk to take. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, why not? That, like, even if you're not completely sold on the idea, like, why not at least wait and see what it looks like first? I've heard from so many people that this is the best Batman game ever made. Why not at least wait to see what it is? I'm just way more of a Bruce Wayne fan. Yeah, so am I. But with that said, I'm interested to see what the next chapter in the Arkham story is, and it doesn't really work if you just bring Bruce Wayne right back. Yeah, so like KY Guy 518 just said, I get why people prefer solo Batman stories because I'm one of them. I am too. I love solo Batman stories. With that said, we've had 4 of them. I'm okay with a new take on this universe. And like, I understand being more of a Bruce Wayne fan. I'm just saying wait to see what they do with these characters first, because I'm already seeing... I got a tweet sent at me the other day that literally said, I am devastated. I am devastated. How are you devastated? We haven't even seen the game yet, and you're telling me that you're devastated that Bruce Wayne might have a less major role in this game than he has in games past. Wait to see what they're doing. I have total faith. I think it's going to be a really good game. DLC packs could focus on more solo stuff. Exactly. Exactly. Imagine, like, for all we know, the pre-order bonus will be play as Batman and Robin taking down Two-Face. Think about it. Like, that could be it. We've already seen solo prequel content for Arkham Knight, Arkham Origins. Yeah, we could get more. I have high expectations for this game. It had better be the best Batman game. I keep hearing it's the best Batman game. Like, it had better be. What if there's different outcomes for each mission depending on what character you choose for that mission? Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of what I was saying. Like, maybe instead of doing a traditional choice system, we do something more like that where it's priority based. That'd be cool. Let's see. I have to text someone back really quick. Okay, would I have the sequel be based on Batman Reborn, and would I have the third game be Damian Wayne, be revisited? Not necessarily. I don't really... Like, I say we just focus on this game. Like, let's see where this game goes. If it's really good and they introduce Damian Wayne and then Bruce Wayne can come back as more of a mentor character or a Dark Knight Returns type character, then yeah, let's do more. Let's see what happens when Damian Wayne decides that he wants to follow in his father's footsteps. Alright, I'm going to take 5 more questions and then I'm going to be done. They got to be kind of short, too. And I'll say up to 5. If you don't have 5 more questions, then we'll be good. Why did they cancel the Damian Wayne game? Probably because this one has a better vision. I like this, you know... Like, I think that when you're developing a game, sometimes you have different narrative ideas, and I think that this one is a better follow-up to Arkham Knight. Believe me, I love your channel. I just disagree with you. I don't think the game would be bad without Batman. It's just not my type. So we're not even disagreeing. I'm stating that that's okay. I'm saying that to say that it will factually not work because Bruce Wayne isn't Batman in it, then that's kind of pretentious. You can not like this game as much and say it's not really your type of game. That's fine. I 100% will respect that opinion. I would prefer an Arkham Origins sequel myself, but with that said, as I've heard more about this game, I'm more interested to kind of see what the follow-up to Arkham Knight is and see more of these characters get developed. And I just suggest that maybe you take a chance with it and see what they choose to do with the story. You seen the Batwoman show? No, I did not, but I have heard tons of cringeworthy dialogue. I may not be Batman, but I may be better. I think no matter what, everybody will be a little disappointed. Yes. Yep. WB has waited so long, teased us so long, we've had so many fake leaks. People's expectations are too high for this game. It's going to be great. It might be the best game ever, but everyone will have some slight disappointment. Batman with Eskrima sticks. I think you misspelled that. Yeah, I'd be down. Characters own transportation. Seriously, yeah, why not? Like, I think it'd be cool if everyone kind of had their own separate ways to do things and different combos and different traversal methods. Like, yeah, why not? If you're going to have that many characters in a game, why not make each of them super unique? Do you know if the Batwing will be in this game? I have no idea. I would love to. Nothing happening this October? I don't know. I do not know. I wish I did. I wish I knew. There was like one person who said it would that we'd see something today, and I DM'd him and he didn't ever say anything, so probably not, but better boss battles in the larger Rogues Gallery. The other thing is this is being done by WB Games Montreal. Arkham Origins is credited as having the best boss battles in the series, and it's a new creative team this time than it was for Origins, and this team they come from like Splinter Cell and BioShock, so it's going to be a good game, like I have no doubt. 2019, I'm sure the trailer will be in 2019, the release will be 2020. I'm almost positive. What if Jason Batman wears Flashpoint suit? I think he should have an original design, personally. I mean, he was the Arkham Knight, he could just wear that suit. Alright, well I'm wrapping it up. Thanks you guys so much for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. And honestly, I'm really excited. Like I said, I'm about 90% certain that this is the game we're going to get, and we'll have to wait and see. I'm sure that we'll be getting a trailer within the next few weeks or months. But anyways, thanks you guys so much for watching. Again, please be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you guys later. I'll upload this discussion as well, so you can come back and rewatch it. You can leave comments as things are updated, and I'll be sure to update my channel with videos and my Twitter feed as new details emerge as well. If I hear anything, I'll let you guys know. But yep, we'll see you guys in the next one.